We've recently got some crazy leaks for the Avengers Doomsday movie. So if you don't already know, some concept art for the Avengers Doomsday movie has been leaked, and this is a movie that is set to start filming this year and it'll be released next year. Because of the direction the MCU is heading, with them bringing in RDJ as Doctor Doom, people have a lot of theories about what the story of Avengers Doomsday will likely be about. And if the final product is anything like these leaks, I think it's safe to say that they're already going to start exploring the multiverse in some pretty cool ways. And then Avengers Secret Wars will hopefully just go all out with the multiverse. Really, the biggest leak is the concept art for Doctor Doom, and I just gotta say, I think it looks beautiful. I think he looks intimidating. Doctor Doom is definitely one of those characters that I was very curious how they would adapt him into live action in the MCU, because if you look at his original design in the comics, and it's often used in animation, it can look pretty intimidating in those formats, but in live action, it's kind of hard to translate that directly without it looking kind of goofy. And upon that, since Robert Downey Jr. is playing Doctor Doom, and it most likely is also an Iron Man Tony Stark variant, people were thinking he would look more like Iron Man, but with the Doctor Doom color scheme. And I think this might be perfection because it is kind of that classic design with more details to make it look more textured and not as cartoonish. And it definitely feels like something that a variant of Iron Man could make with the materials he has, but it still very much looks like Doctor Doom, and it doesn't look like Iron Man to the point where the main characters will immediately see him and be like, oh, you're Iron Man. They're not going to figure that out until his mask comes off. So assuming that this is the main design they're actually going to go with for Doctor Doom, I absolutely love it. And there was another piece of art that also showed Doctor Doom, but he looked different. It was more of that Emperor Doom style, and I'm not sure if that's just a different suit or a different variant of him from the multiverse. And it also looks like some version of Doctor Strange played by Benedict Cumberbatch, or maybe it is the same variant that we're used to. I will say I'm not a huge fan of how they had Benedict Cumberbatch play all the variants of Doctor Strange in Multiverse of Madness. I always prefer more of a variety in the variants. Another thing that looks interesting was an image of Hulk, She-Hulk, and Hulk's son Scar, and it kind of looks like they're on a planet Hulk or something. It's still crazy to me that we haven't got another Hulk film since 2008, and I think Smart Hulk has definitely overstayed his welcome.
I put the brains and the brawn together.
Nobody cares!
So I'm expecting that either in Doomsday or Secret Wars, something's going to happen that just makes the Hulk snap and go full savage mode again. And at the end of the day, I'm definitely just very excited to see what they do with his character. One of the concept art things was also of White Vision and Star-Lord on a couch. And when it comes to Star-Lord, it's a scenario where his last appearance, which was in Guardians 3, I thought it was a really good conclusion to his character arc, so if that ended up being his final appearance, I would have been fine with that. But it also said at the very end of that movie that he would return, and it seems like they're actually going to stay consistent with what they said. And of course, I don't mind seeing more of him. He's a fun character. And I'm also very curious what they're going to do with White Vision and how that ties into the Vision Quest series. But that's not the only image Star-Lord appeared in. There was also another one where him and Wong were training the young Avengers, which I think it's nice that they're following up some stuff with those young Avenger characters, because they had kind of been teasing that earlier on, but there was nothing official. And I think if Wong and Star-Lord are training them, that's honestly the perfect thing to do with their characters. I think they would both work very well as mentors, especially Wong. He's super underrated. There was also another image of some variant of Black Panther. I'm not entirely sure if it's supposed to be T'Challa, or maybe his son, or his dad or grandpa, and I'm sure it's not from the main universe. It's definitely not if it's a variant of T'Challa, because he would have already passed away on the timeline, which is just what they did since Chadwick Boseman passed away in real life. That's another reason that I don't think it will be T'Challa, because I don't think they ever really wanted to replace him. So at the end of the day, when it comes to all this concept art, it definitely looks cool, and it seems like there's some pretty interesting stuff that could go on in this movie. But all of this begs the question, how on earth did this get leaked? Did someone actually abuse their power and just show this to the internet? Because if that's the case, Kevin Feige is definitely coming for them. However, when stuff like this happens, even though it seems like it wasn't supposed to happen, I always do kind of wonder if it was intentional, and the studio actually does want to leak a little bit of stuff just to get people excited, which is definitely one interesting thing to take into consideration. Is this a good thing or bad thing? Because on one hand, it definitely gets people excited, and it gets a lot of theories going, but at the other time, it could definitely ruin surprises, and people just don't want spoilers. And of course, this is all concept art. It's not any set photos or footage, because they haven't even started filming yet. And obviously concept art by definition is just a concept. It's not always what they end up going with in the final result of the film. And we really don't know how new this concept art was made in the process. It could have been very early on when the story was completely different, or it could have been more recently and that's actually what the film is going to be about. But we'll just have to find out. Let me know in the comment section down below if you're excited for this movie and what you think of this concept art. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.